Welcome back, friends.
Welcome.
I wish you all have gone through the journals for what we have done for the first week.
Happy New Year.
And yes, not only Happy New Year, it's a new journey altogether because we are starting up with our second week journey. Second week journey starts with called integrated power coding. Now, have you gone through the any kind of an explorations what a coding is? Do you have any kind of an idea about the coding itself? Any brief idea?
Coding means in software you do coding.
Yes, very good. Rightly said. It is a kind of a techie kind of a term that is used, integrated power coding. But coding is a kind of an happening event, which I used to call it as a defining moment of our life, being created by several defining moments throughout our lives since our childhood. Every event that happens either in favor of us or against of us, whatever, that means not in favor, not in against. Some of the events we like the most, some of the events we don't really like. These events create some kind of a perception, how we see the things, how we see the events. And these perceptions, as long as these events or perceptions being in the process of developing, our brain starts finding the relevance, the evidence in support of those events. That creates a strong belief system in between us, cause coding kind of and stuff. That impregnated code gives us a solid support or support from the backside what we proceed for, what we are restricted ourselves to get any kind of decisions or to step into. Now, we do have several events throughout a man with any kind of an age of understanding or having some basic knowledge or basic ideas of what about life is all about, having some experiences of defining moments. Now, have I made myself clear quite?
Yes,
What is a
yes.
defining moment itself?
Yes.
Now, can I ask Shonji, can you recollect some of your defining moments of your life? It may be positive, it may be negative.
Okay. So when from my company I was sent to Singapore long time back. So I was very junior at that time. So it was the expectation was very high from the company that and client had a very high expectation that the situation should manage very well. The situation was the number of people working in Singapore was very less, including me. Only a few people were there, and we had to manage a very big project. So the situation was that we had to work hard for almost 20 to 22 hours a day actually.
So what was the defining moment for you?
So that is the hard working that I did, that the project became very successful. It was appreciated. So from that point onwards, I started feeling that there is no substitute for hard working, and that hard working should be a smart hard working, not it's only hard working. That whatever you undertake, that should get a logical conclusion.
Beautiful. Now,
that is the thing.
the team is why I was asking or discussing this thing. There are two kind of it's a very beautiful, powerful, positive mindset that you have developed. Yes, hard work. There is no substitute for it, and you can deliver it. Now there are two types of codes as we have been mentioning. One is a negative one, another one is an effective one, or say evaluating one, or the code itself,
Empowering one.
which yes, rightly words you have mentioned are empowering.
Right.
Now, though it's hard, when we heard about the negatives, it creates some kind of momentum. Don't go into that trap because though we are calling it negatives, why? Because these are the codes always gives us a stop, don't do it, kind of a stop. We call it, I presume it like the over caring parents, overacting parents. So these codes basically saves us from taking any kind of an steps. Why I am telling you steps? Step does because from taking any kind of an steps forward. By virtue of not taking any steps, you don't get any pain. Obviously, don't get any gain also.
Right.
So, on the other hand, the empowering course, the e-course, always push you to cross the limits. But whenever we get the pain, we get the gain also in other hand.
Right.
So, considering negative codes and positive codes, what we are trying to do over here, we'd like to do the exercise in such a way that we can evaluate ourselves how we are being coded since the childhood.
Right.
If we know how we have been coded, then yes, we can think about some kind of a transformations.
Right.
If there any kind of a change to need to be done, we can do according. Unless we know the entire fact, our coding system, we cannot even do any kind of an addition to it. Just for the sake of examples, let me put an example. That is, Ravi's brother is called, shouted at him in front of his friend. Ravi been called up, been shouted by his elder brother in front of his friend. Now, he formed the belief that his brother will always embarrass him in front of his friends. That's kind of a firm belief. As soon as it's developed into the Ravi's brain, he will start collecting evidence. Okay, what are the facts what are the situations coming, future situation where his brother could cause such kind of an embarrassment. And by means of this kind of an back brain thinking, a negative codes will create into the brain of Ravi, which could cause him not to fall into that situation in any further. So a shy kind of a mentality may develop. That's for an example. So similarly, same kind of an events definitely happens in each and every individual of our life throughout our life itself. We need to find out how those codes are being formed. Just to put an example, let me ask Shantanu. Can you please elaborate any positive events that has happened into your life? Why I am asking you prior to that, let me be very clear. We will start finding the process of those coding system, and we will come across with decisions of that particular coding system. Shall we get along with it, or shall we do something as a change or as an action for the transformations? So any kind of events that you like to add to from your life, I would like to ask you, Shantanu, why don't you start with some positive event? Anyone?
Okay, so one that I can remember right now is when I was in class 11. So we from our school, we went for a trip to Shah Institute, which is a part of the BARC, Baba Atomic Research Center. So basically it was an educational tour, so they showed us how the cyclotron works, fission, fusion and all. I was quite excited and I was almost overawed by the people who were there, all scientists. Okay. Just when I fast forward to another 10 years, I again find myself in BARC, training the same guys who had wowed me at that point of time, standing in front of them, and they are eagerly looking at me for information, for knowledge.
Wonderful.
So it was a role reversal. So at that point of time, I was looking at them, trying to grasp everything, and then I see the same thing.
Wonderful.
The role has changed. So that was a defining moment.
It is definitely.
That was a defining moment for me.
What was that? Was a defining moment for you. How old you were at that time?
At this time, I think I was 23, 24 years.
I'm just talking about the defining moments, when you are changed your state and seeing people.
Yeah, 24 years.
Okay.
I was 24 years old.
Great. And what happened and who was there and what the.
So all the scientists were there. all the cycling. So it has to be taken as two different events together. Otherwise, the context will be lost.
Got to be. Got to
So
be.
in the earlier one, I had my classmates and our teacher. In the second case, I have the same scientists
Okay.
who had actually explained how the cyclotron works and all. So they were sitting in the audience, and I was there trying to impart some knowledge that they needed.
Which
So-
which events did got some kind of a
Second
signature?
one. Second
Second
one.
one.
Of
So
course, second
second one is our concern to evaluate because so it was you and your those seniors, those who had given you their suggestions 10 years back, right?
Yeah, and another. So as part of the event, at the end of it, I was felicitated.
Wow.
So I was given a shirt and
That was
tie.
a great achievement.
So
That was a great
when I
achievement.
was taking that, it was similar to what we did at that time where we had given them bouquets.
Okay.
So it was a pure role reversal, but I really felt good about myself.
What great things you have learned so far your 10 years of period and then you're at the podium of senior teachers.
Yeah, the learning was that you always have something to give out to people, where people as great as they may seem like,
But they are always
they are worthy recipients.
wow. That's a very great notes to come up with. What was the e-course that you have developed since?
That I can do anything, I can achieve anything.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Sushmit, do you have anything like this to share?
Positive events.
I would ask you about the negative one. Is there anything like
Yeah, so negative events there is so among the two that we have done in the exercise. So, one is that I came across failure very early in life. Okay, so when I failed in maths in class 2, I didn't understand the difference between a success and a failure. Win and lose. Means win and lose still I knew because I was into games, so I understand.
that is the age of
yeah, so the age was the age of games. Those are not age of mobile, right? So win and lose I understood, but success and fail I never understood till that time.
realization age.
Yes.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
So like early days, my father accompanied to take up the report card from the class teacher, and she very politely had said that Sushmit is a very good child and she is very attentive. But only problem is he is very talkative in class and all. And then he has been promoted to class 3, but he has failed in maths. So I was happy that I was promoted to class 3. I will go to class 3 with all my friends, not realizing what grave mistake I have done.
What was the cause? What was the amount that you have to pay? You didn't pay.
No, I didn't. I had no notion of that.
What was your defining moment?
So the defining moment came once I left the class.
Okay.
And I looked at my father's face and I
Okay.
understood that there is something gravely wrong.
Okay.
And then from then the reactions.
So
then
your
ca-
father was there and you was there.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we came back home, then the discussion between my father and mother and the reactions that I got from both of them
Wonderful.
had some really negative impact on me. saying that-
Did you want that time? I think it's funny because at such age it is hardly impossible to think in that. But can you recall it? Do you want something else to be happened at that moment when it was?
Yes, but after that reactions, I thought that why did hell I fail? I should have passed over that and avoid the entire
Okay,
thing.
fair enough. Okay, what do you have learned anything about that episode?
Yeah, it had a negative impact on me. So I developed a particular encodes.
What is it?
On failure, and I feared my academics also very much at that particular time.
So that moment onwards.
Yeah, that moment onwards.
Okay.
So I was very overcautious. I was putting extra efforts, but extra efforts means I was trying to put extra efforts, but the fear psychosis played.
Kind of from since then you become for education a bit panicky, right?
Yeah, a bit panicky till a pretty long time.
That used to get happen. No issues. How about Sanjeev?
Any positive moment?
Why? Come up with your positive points.
Yeah, I remember it was my BTech second year electrical exam. BTech, I was in electrical engineer actually. It was my second year exam. So before the exam, on a particular paper, I had a very high fever of 105, something like that. So I couldn't read anything on that night actually. So I went to the college. And my mom was there accompanying me, and she told me that everything will be okay when you study the whole day. And when I was sitting and the paper came to me, I was become totally blank. And some senior fellows were there. I told them that, Didi, I don't remember anything. I am not able to recollect anything. What should I write? So some of them said that, no, don't worry, you will recover because you had a high fever, so you don't recollect anything. But after some time, I became cool and down, and started remembering the subject matters and started writing it down. Whole thing is that, but still that time I had very high fever actually. So, but I wrote the paper very in a nice way after some time. So, what I feel that your physical limitations are not that important if you have that mental power actually.
So that was your defining moment.
One of the defining moments that with your mental power, you can overcome any kind of physical challenges actually.
Correct.
So that
How
is
old
a-
are you at that moment?
I was 20, 21,
Okay.
21, 20,
And
20,
who,
20 to
who,
22,
who were
23.
with you at that moment?
At that moment, my mom accompanied me to the college.
So your parents?
My parents,
Mom was there.
mom was there. She told me that don't worry. She took a cab and took me to the college, and she accompanied me. She told me that don't worry.
Do you thought at that moment or afterwards some differently that this would have been in better positions for you at that moment to face that situation?
No, I don't get your point.
Do you thought in different way? Like your exam was there, you were with the high fever, despite how you have been given the exams and all that. Do you thought or expect anything out of this entire episode? Some different would have been in better positions for you?
If I would have the fever, I would have given the exam in a much better way.
So
actually.
something was there, but not under your control.
Right.
I'm just
Not
talking
my-
about something about your control. What it would have been in better positions for you
Okay.
if you would have such kind of an environment of there.
I think control, nothing was in my control at that time
Forget
actually.
about that. What was the E-code that
It means that if you have the mental power, you can overcome any kind of physical challenges also. So you don't give up your hope actually. I've seen a person with 2 arms amputated in my colony. There was a person whose 2 arms were amputated. He was doing his service. He used to come to the marketplace with a bag hanging by the side, and he used to pick up the vegetables. He was not able to pick up the vegetables. The shopkeepers used to put the vegetables in his bag. They should take the money from his pocket, and he used to during office hours he used to get into the bus. The conductor used to help him, and he had little kids actually. So his 2 arms are amputated, but he was still working.
My
So I felt enormous inspiration from him that this person is not having 2 arms, but
at that
he's
moment?
he was a person in my
It
locality.
was a
in my
different
locality,
event.
different
See, when we
event.
talk
It
about
is.
events, it does not need to be a momentary thing.
Yeah.
It's an observation.
Absolutely,
Observation.
absolutely.
So
But
person,
this is-
so far we have been analyzing a particular moment, not an event.
Right.
We must talk about that obviously. As
This is also an event, right?
Yes.
So when I see
But it is
someone
not nowhere
inspiring,
related with that particular event.
Yeah,
Or
but-
his exams.
no,
Right.
when he's talking
We are talking about
The
his
E-code,
exams.
The E-code.
E-course may be related with because that is the beauty of it.
right,
Because whenever you are developing a course, you are getting references
right.
in support of that.
Right.
So
So
support wise
physical
is there.
limitations are not a factor. It's a mental power to overcome that. So I'm giving my example because in the exam hall, I was not recollecting anything. Nothing was in my control. But with my mental power, I overcome that. And I was taking the reference of that person is not having any hand.
Wonderful. That's
He
a
was not
defining
having
moment.
hand. He has physical limitation, but
So-
he was so charming and he didn't.
So defining moment was that
Right.
amputated boy.
Right,
Wonderful,
right.
isn't it? Isn't
Right,
it? Sanjay?
right, absolutely.
And I would like to ask you one thing. That defining moments you're still carrying on.
Yes, I'm carrying on. It's my
What do
inspiration
you What
for
do you
me.
think? What do you think? If that defining moment is not with you,
Yes.
what would be the given up situation
Yes,
for you?
maybe sometimes it would happen. I would have give up easily in certain situations. I wouldn't have fight.
Fair enough.
There are many situations in my life that where I had to fight.
Fair enough.
There were fevers, there were other problems in the family, but I didn't think about those things. I think with my mental ability and mental power, I can overcome anything in my life. And those inspirational stories helped me and motivated me a lot. So I think those were the defining moments for my life.
Fair enough. Shushmit, do you think that the negative impact that was created on your backside of your brain was something that you should carry on with, or should you have some plan some sort of change to make it happen like that?
No, obviously it didn't do any good to me when it was with me. So.
Quite obvious.
Um,
And in your case, Shantanu, do you want to keep on holding those?
Yeah, the positive things I definitely want to keep.
Do you
hold
would
of
you
that.
want any kind of a change or any kind of a modifications on
No,
that?
not really. If something is positive, why should I want to change it?
Great, great.
Right, it's working for me.
So all of a sudden, I would like to come up with a very successful note is that these are the coding systems that has already been with us, and how we have been coded, we just try to find it out, and we have also evaluated the pros and cons of if we are going to continue with these things, what are the things will be at losing side, and what are the gain that we can accomplish.
Right.
So friends, once again, thanks a lot for your active participation. See you in another episode and the sessions very soon. So till then, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.